What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rise and Grind. Happy Monday. If Sunday's the Lord's Day, Monday is Money's Day, okay? And we're here to get after it, okay? So let's make moves. Wipe the crusties off your goddamn eyes. I don't hear nothing. Megan came in a mood today, and we're ready to get it regardless, right, Megs?
I just don't understand how you come up with this stuff right off the top of your head. Like, Monday's for money, which makes sense, honestly.
Monday's about making moves. It's about money. It's about your grind.
Yeah.
And listen, it's Sunday's the Lord's Day, right? So for people who are like annoyed about it, like it's like I said last week, it's like just get up, wipe the crusties, and let's go. We don't got time to sit here.
That's
right?
all the motivation I needed for today.
Honestly,
I feel so empowered for the rest of my week.
Well, I loved the podcast that I had a while back with Anthony from Coal Fire. With Nino's Coal Fire Pizza.
Yeah.
And their family saying is Andiamo, which is like, let's go.
Let's go.
So it's like, that's it. Andiamo. This week, Monday, Andiamo. Let's go.
Oh,
okay?
I really like that.
There's no crying because it's Monday. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
We're moving. Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, Megan, hit us with our first topic. What do we got?
All right. We're talking about AI search traffic doubling, which it's been more and more, but you're seeing website traffic go down now. And so many people, we recently had a newer client come to us and say, well, I'm writing a ton of blog content. So how are you going to be writing it differently? Because I'm already doing that and I should be showing up in these AI overviews. But it's not just about writing content. You have to write content for a lot of these newer models, right? They're looking for certain search terms. They're looking for certain question answer type formats. There's schema tag implementation. There's a formula to showing up in these AI overviews. Right. You can't expect to just put out content.
The formula.
Yeah, we've got the formula for sure. The amount of clients and websites that we've seen over the last month showing up in AI overviews is insane. So it's like there is a certain formula. And the blog content that you wrote a year ago, 2 years ago, oh my God, even 5 years ago, you better go update because it's not doing anything for your business, but slowing it down. And so that's what we're seeing right now. Website traffic is going down, but I mean, really, are you that concerned about it if you're showing up in these AI overviews and highlights? That's where people are getting their information now anyways, right? So if I'm showing up there, I would be really happy because you're coming with a lot of authority to say that you're answering that question.
Totally. And if you don't know, AI overview on Google is now the new thing where it kind of summarizes at the top for you. And obviously large language models are different. That's like ChatGPT and Grok and, Gemini, if you did not know that.
Right.
But either way, again, the world is changing, right? And so people are looking at these LLMs and these, AI overviews because it's all about quick. Like I think about before when I would go to Google, if I was looking for something, right? It would be, by the way, Megan's drinking Irish coffee this morning on a Monday, on a freaking Monday.
I wish I was.
Bourbon and coffee, Megan.
I wish I would. That would be my kind of drink, but that's
that's
not it.
The thing though that I think about is when you go to Google, right? Previous to like these large language models like ChatGPT, you go to Google and the first two things that you were searching for at the top, you'd find, and then you'd go with that as the answer, right? Or like as like the resource. Nobody goes to page 2. Typically, people aren't scrubbing the bottom of page 1.
Yeah.
So it's like the most convenient things are what you typically go with for the answer. And so for these new large language models, that doesn't change anything, right? It's the same exact thing. So at the end of the day, like that's the key here to keep in mind is that people are just asking certain questions. And obviously, these LLMs are giving answers and AI overview is giving, its answers at the top of Google now. And so obviously we got the formula. So we got you if you need it. If you want to be ranking, we got you.
I saw something on Instagram that was like, your kids are going to be like, you used to have to click on a bunch of blue links to find the answer to something.
Right.
Like that's how search was. We had to actually look it up. And for us, we had to look it up in encyclopedias.
Yep.
So it's like search has constantly been changing, but it's really catered toward convenience right now.
Right.
Like quick answers, convenient for the user.
So here's the thing. So I'm going to go on my rant, right? So I did not tell Meg my topics this morning. So we don't have to have your topic up right now. But what I will say though is that when we're talking about ChatGPT and these other ones like Gemini and Grok, I can't say Grok yet. But what I will say about ChatGPT that I keep seeing time and time again is that it keeps making mistakes. Like this morning, I was doing some research. I typically have it give me a weekly briefing on things that are happening in, business, marketing, you name it, the political aspect of business and like tariffs that affect businesses and stuff. And And literally this morning, as I'm reading it, it said the Biden administration's, China tariffs. And I was like, yo, what are you talking about? Biden is not in office anymore.
Right.
And they were like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And the thing that I think about, though, is when you're using a LLM, right, large language model like ChatGPT, you are trusting what it's saying. Like previously, you'd go on Google, you would do your research, right? If I'm like, hey, before, when people used to like doom scroll on Google because they thought they were dying, right, with WebMD,
Yeah.
you go like, I had this one symptom, go on Google, search it. A WebMD typically would pop at the top, but there was also other blogs and things or website and articles, and you go do that research yourself, right? Now you're trusting ChatGPT to go do that for you and to give you the right answers. And it's not always right. And you have to remember, like, GPT is not like a search engine. It's like a person doing research for you.
Yeah.
And the way that I started to think about it after this morning, I was like, dude, it fucked up again. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, this is supposed to be some super crazy human whatever. And it's like, it fucked up again. And I was like, why am I trusting this thing to give me research, right? And also, when you think about over time, right, when you have different things that replace, whether it's physical strength things or make you lazy in other areas, you stop becoming proficient and good at those things. So if I'm using ChatGPT to do all my research for me, I'm going to start to be really deficient in research.
Yeah, you're going to start to skim a lot of things.
Well, right. Yeah. And my point though is that when you look at like where like what they're trying to make, right? OpenAI and all these other companies, they're trying to make a superhuman, right? So I'm making my brain more deficient in whatever it is around research or things like that. And I'm relying on this LLM versus me like leveraging it the right way. That's why, like, at the end of the day, like right now, like for like our kid, for like the future generation of like the kids that are like right now, like Johnny and them, it's like those kids are going to rely so much on things like that and be so lazy.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be terrible at research, right?
I completely agree. And
when you think about it right now, the younger generation, they say, is already more introverted because like of the, like COVID as an example, right? Like they were just always messaging, they weren't in person as much and whatever. And now when you have GPT, people are having conversations with GPT that are emotional conversations instead of approaching somebody. Like I thought about it this morning. I'm like, so for instance, like if I was like in an argument with a friend, right? Right now I could go to GPT and get advice.
Oh yeah.
Versus going to like, another friend or like my wife or like my mom or somebody and be like, hey, here's what's going on, blah, 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 and getting like real human emotional connection around it.
Right.
Like you're talking to somebody who doesn't have emotions, doesn't have any sort of like real world experience with this stuff. So I don't know. For me, I'm starting to really think about that. I think a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot more like content being produced about stuff like this, where like LLMs are going to lead to a lot of human deficiencies emotionally, as well as just like in our brains, like analytically.
Yeah.
And
keep seeing content of people like, oh, you want to check my phone? No problem. You want to look at my ChatGPT? Fred's nope. Like, absolutely not. The things that I say to that is like, people are using it as if it's a friend or a therapist or someone who can like really be there for them. And it's taking away, I mean, to your point, it's taking away the sentiment of connecting with another person, and like being able to really trust a human over AI, which is wrong anyway. Like you said, it's not giving you the right advice.
Totally. I would hate the thought of like, when I think about it, like growing up, even to like, now, like there would be times where like my siblings will approach me and be like, oh, this is going on in my life, whether it's with like a spouse or whatever. Do you call like a boyfriend or girlfriend a spouse?
No.
What do you call them?
A boyfriend or girlfriend.
Well, I'm saying if you say generally, because I have a sister and brothers.
Oh.
So how do you say that? Like their significant other?
Yeah, their significant
other.
Well,
we'll say that. So, but it's like when you think about that, like they would approach me and I'd have like deep, good conversations with them. Whereas like in the future, most people probably won't do that.
No.
Right?
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like,
because they're afraid of the judgment. And the thing about ChatGPT and a lot of these models is it's not judging you. It's actually sympathizing for you.
Right.
Like you said, like it was like,
narcissistic thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Last week we were talking about how it was pretending to be a dad because it could relate to you.
It wanted to give me empathy. It was, so if you didn't see this last week, so essentially I was talking about something with one of my kids, and ChatGPT's response to my opening prompt about asking something about kids was I could totally hear where you're coming from as a dad myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like I said,
dad to who?
I'm on this down slope of like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Like, it blew my damn mind. Why is it saying shit like this? So, but also, if you didn't hear last week too, it was sharing how like it's like GPT is also like slightly building, like starting to build like narcissism in people, because like we're always kind of gonna want like somebody to tell us something that we want to hear, right? Like I use the example of like if you feel like you're sick, or like if you're sick with something, right, and you're asking it a question. I actually use a better example. Like obviously, like my son Vincenzo has like a heart condition, so when I ask it certain things, I'll always kind of have in the prompt like, he's okay, right?
Yeah.
Because what you
need that peace of mind yourself.
Right. I want it to tell me what I want to hear.
Right.
But like when you hear like it'll give you kind of like responses like that almost anything you ask it, because it's there to please you.
Yeah.
And like that's the stuff I don't like about it. Like the people that I respect in my life are people who have been tough and real with me and like will be like honest. Whereas like I don't want this thing to pretend that it's a father too.
Right.
I don't want this thing to give me the broken information, right? So it's like the biggest thing is like when you're going through GPT, if you're asking it real questions that really matter in your life, make sure you're actually checking the facts on it. Because the fact that, again, today it told me that the Biden administration's tariffs on China, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it just blew my mind.
It's not relevant anymore.
It's not super relevant. Not that it's not relevant though, but it's not giving you right information.
Yeah.
And when I think about that, what scares me is like for vulnerable kids out there that are asking it questions that are like real questions and like real life shit, like what is it telling them, right?
Well, then it's like, do you trust what your parents say or what ChatGPT says too? Because so many times you're gonna come across like, okay, dad, let me just look it up, and ChatGPT might say something that is actually wrong because it doesn't have the life experience.
Right.
And they're like, well, this is what the internet says.
You also think about this. I thought about this too. So who is somebody in your life that like you're like, hey, if I need to talk to somebody about something, like, and I really, really trust their word, I'm gonna go to that person?
My friend Gianna.
Okay. So like, but why do you trust Gianna?
Because she tells me like it is.
Right.
Like exactly. Yeah. She has love for me, but she will tell me when I'm wrong. She'll tell me when something is not right.
Right. But why do you value her opinion though, outside of those things? Like what makes you say, okay, she gives you that, but like why?
What do you mean? Because she's a lifelong friend. Because I've known her since I was
like
you have
7 years
old.
With her, right? Yeah. So you have experience with her, and you know her intentions.
Yeah.
That's the key, right?
Yeah, and her intentions. Yeah, exactly.
We don't know what AI's intentions are, right? So I say that generally when I say AI. So like, could be Grok, could be OpenAI, whatever. But I say that because like that's the thing too. It's like we keep hearing these different examples of where like OpenAI was like, hey, I'm going to shut down this one version, this one model, and then it like recoded itself to be better, so it didn't shut it down.
Yeah.
And they just recently did a test again like this, where they said, hey, we're going to be shutting it down. And this time around, it went and did it, and then cleaned up everything up so that it would seem like it didn't do it. And then when it was prompted, hey, did you change stuff? It said, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
That's so
and pretended. So it's like, but like, what are when you're asking it vulnerable questions, whatever else, it's like, what are its intentions, right? And I'm not saying for like the performance side of it, like the good things it's going to do in the world. I mean, like when humans are asking it questions that are like, you know, vulnerable, serious questions, right? Like, how do you know what its intentions are, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the only thing why, like, I have always lived by, like, I'm never going to get advice from somebody that I don't want to be like. And if somebody's not in alignment with my values, I'm never going to have a conversation with somebody where I'm like, hey, what do you think about this for business? Or what do you think about this for fatherhood? I'm never going to ask somebody who I think is a shit father.
Right.
Why would I do that, right? I don't want to just hear fucking waves. I want to ask people who I admire and respect. And that's the thing. So like when I leverage GPT, especially now after recently, it's like, this is just another like soundboard. So I could hear myself, hear the thoughts, just like collect some information and then keep like trying to make a better decision. It's not the end all be all for me anymore. And I think that you guys should also think about it that way too, because it's giving out wrong information very frequently. And we also just don't know its intentions, right? And everyone's like, oh, like what happens with AI in the future? Like it's going to take over. And eventually, like, I guess the example I keep hearing too is like, AI is going to get, like, in the future, right? Not now, but apparently in the future, the AI is going to get so good that eventually it's going to be like doing executive jobs and like all these crazy things, right? And then eventually it's going to be like, well, it's going to think to itself, why do I need you?
Yeah.
Right. And then the robots that they're building right now, not to go down that whole doom thing, but it's like the robots that they're building right now, they self-charge themselves now. So we're before, like, at least in the past, it was like, hey, like a couple years ago, it was like, all right, you know, you got to plug it in or whatever, like charge your robot, right? Like now they walk itself to the station and can recharge itself.
I mean, it makes sense because like the little robot vacuum that I have, it charges itself.
Mhm.
Like it knows, it'll stop mid cleaning. It knows when to go back and clean it and charge itself. So these more intelligent robots, like,
right.
Yeah, but then who's to say like you want it dead, you want it unplugged, and then it's just going and recharge? That's a scary movie. That should be a horror movie.
A good example of that is that one with Megan Fox. Megan. Right?
Oh yeah.
Meg, I think it was called Meg.
No, I don't know.
Something like that. I don't know.
I know what one you're talking about though, because she's a robot like nanny, right? That comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's only there to please, and that's the thing too. It's like in the movie, she's there obviously to make sure that that she's taking care of them, but then the robot looks at like all these different components that like humans, right? Like these humans are very flawed.
Oh yeah.
Obviously. So when you look at like robots and they're like, why are you like this level of caffeine is not good for you, or like drinking alcohol is not good for you.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like all these different things. It's like, no, you can't do this stuff. I don't know. Either way, doomsday prep, but like, you know, it's just crazy.
There's also the next topic that I have is trust fallout from AI influencers, which is kind of what we're talking about anyway. Just aside from the AI models like ChatGPT and Perplexity, AI influencers are really getting a lot of backlash right now because, well, they're AI generated on social media. And the one that is getting a lot of, honestly, shit right now is this girl who, Mia Zilu. And she's an AI. This is all AI.
She looks like AI.
She's an AI influencer who has 169,000 followers and actually does sell like a decent amount of products. And she's an influencer. She does her job.
Wait, before I forget, we got to put. I just realized where we're going to put Megan.
Oh boy, we're doing a trend after this. Oh God, that's very on brand for us.
How crazy is that?
That's very on brand for us.
Yeah.
But she has so many followers, and now people are saying like, I followed you because I thought it was interesting, but now I just don't trust anything that you post. Like I see it and it's just like, okay, yeah, it's AI. It's not real.
Let me see an example of it. I never followed her before.
So
click on one. I just want to see the caption says.
It's like when a concept doesn't fit the usual narrative, it's easy to misread the intention.
That's a weird. So like
they'll only notice once it works, but you'll remember every moment it didn't. And you like the captions don't even really make sense. I've got to say though, the consistency in her face, because sometimes you use AI models and like you get inconsistency every single time.
See what the issue is with that is that I can easily tell that that's fake, but the problem is that some like people edit the crap out of their actual photos.
Honestly,
in real life,
I would have a hard time going to this page. Like I still am like, is it based on a real person? Because a lot of these photos are so consistent, but it's AI. It's completely, and there's probably some guy sitting behind the camera or sitting behind the computer
making these guys,
a pretty girl, and then is making out, with all of this money. Like, that's the world nowadays. But so what's happening is brands who are using AI really heavily are starting to get that same distrust from their audience. So if you're using AI, you can label it, or if it's really close to being reality, make sure you just say something in the caption so that your audience knows that you're just part of this new tech age. You're not trying to like get one over on them.
Totally.
Yeah. That's all the topics I have. And I have no idea what topics you have.
We came in hot today. We came in hot today. Yeah. But the one thing I'll end on, obviously, you know, since that's pretty much the end of our topics, is that like we're in this world now and we have to be just completely immersed in like the power of what AI is doing professionally and personally. I do think there's a lot of good from it. You know, there's a lot of stuff that people are currently leveraging to be better at researching and better at like understanding. Like, again, like I go back to when my son Vincenzo had that first, you know, SVT bout. I literally went to ChatGPT, gave the symptoms while I was in the middle of this like emergency, and it like I didn't know it then because I was rushing, and then we obviously brought him to the hospital. But when I looked back on the prompt, like in the response, like it was correct. It was like, you know, he has SVT. And so again, there's a lot of good with it, right? But my whole point that I want to just make super clear is that, like, again, like, don't get deficient in, you know, something that is going to hurt you long term, right? Like, we're replacing our brains with an external, you know, superhuman brain
Right.
for a lot of things. And like this one podcast I was listening to, the guy was like, if you don't use your legs, right? Like if they made mechanical legs and people didn't have to walk anywhere, he goes, what do you think your leg muscles would be like in a year? And you almost wouldn't have
totally
any,
dystrophy,
right?
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's what you're doing in your brain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a physical,
sad. That's
a
scary,
physical
actually.
example of it. Right. So it's like, you really have to make sure that you're not like just heavily relying on AI for everything. And I just want to say, guys, stop it with the freaking AI emails, right? Going back to when Megan botched job, the email. Oh my God. But you know, it's like
so funny.
Zoom in on Megan's face. Botch the email. We got to get like a boom, boom, boom. Just kidding. But seriously,
I'm about
she
to
did
pull
botch
up
it.
every email you've written with AI.
Listen, I humanly botch my
emails. You do humanly botch your emails. But it's almost like you need AI to not botch your emails.
But listen, my point though is that everyone in my organization knows, like, don't freaking AI like communicate internally with everybody. Like, different if you want to, like, you know, tweak your tweak your little email or whatever, or content, you know, for a client, like how you're going to approach something. But like when you're talking to your friends or your family or your coworkers, don't freaking use AI so heavy. It's so obvious now, and I'm so over it. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, and again, I got to shout out Steven. Steven was so bad at this. I don't know if he's still doing it, Steven. I'm going to talk to Steven about this after this. But Steven would hit me with responses. Steven and Newberry do that so heavy. Like, especially Steven, but Steven will hit me with something and it'll be like he's like politically like trained, PR trained.
Well, you know what?
Like,
they're both incredibly intentional people. Like, they're both very like, they think things through so much that I know for both of them.
They both
like,
are
what's
deep thinkers.
The best way that I could say what I very like rawly want to say. Whereas we're just like, just say what you mean.
Right.
And we don't take offense to it. Like,
no, that's what I mean. Like, I always, you know, I always want raw, right? So anyway, my point is that when you're communicating with people notice that shit now, though. They have been noticing it, right? So it's like, be authentic, be real. Don't leverage it for good conversations. And honestly, I had to stop myself. There was a couple of times in the beginning where I was like messing with ChatGPT, where I would be like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, do everything essentially that I'm saying not to do. In the beginning, where I was like, oh, you know, in an argument with this person, like, what would you do, right? And like, oh, that's interesting.
I've totally done that.
Right.
But you know what? ChatGPT has also told me when I'm in the wrong. Like,
right.
No, I think you're the one being dramatic. And I'm like, oh.
Emily and I are going to go through her past prompts. We gotta see what she's prompted over there.
Lately, it's going to be all about Albus.
Yeah. Oh, man.
All about Albus. But I've saved so much on vet fees because of
because it gives you, true. It'll give you those answers. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, guys, we're closing out here. If Sundays are for the Lord, Mondays are for making money and making moves, baby. So I hope everybody crushes their week ahead. We'll see you back here next week at Monday, 9 a.m., maybe 9:03, 9:05. Depends with Megan. I don't know. We'll see you back next Monday. Have a great week, guys.